I'm going to aim to teach you Ishtar, the new hunter in Smite, in under 5 minutes. We're going to include a sort of go-to build, how to level up your skills, and her all-important bread and butter playstyle, how you're going to get the most damage out of the new goddess in Smite. For a quick leveling guide, you'll want to put points in your ultimate whenever you can, then max your 3, then your 1, and finally your 2. You can swap the 3 and 1 around and max the 1 first if you need help clearing wave though. Your passive marks the first enemy god that hits you when you drop below 75% health. When hitting that marked target, you gain extra attack speed, and if you kill them, you get a burst of movement speed for 20 seconds. Your first ability gives you 3 new options to augment your auto attack. The first one turns your autos into AoE attacks, much like Sylvanas' auto attack damage, dealing bonus damage per level, but reducing its crit damage potential. The second option splits your attacks into a cone of 5 arrows, firing like a shotgun. Now, only the central of these arrows deals full damage, while the side arrows deal up to 10% of your regular attack damage based on your level. Finally, the last option gives you increased attack speed and auto attack range in exchange for cutting down 20% of your damage. The first option is your best wave clear ability. You should get your first point in it and use it to shove out waves and farm up. And the second option is your biggest spike of damage in a team fight, as all the arrows seem to be able to trigger on hit effects. And the third one is the least useful of them, but you can use it to snipe targets. Your second ability is a line of damage that can either be started at you and travel out, or start out and travel back to you. If you hit 2 of the impact on the same target, they are mezzed for a short period. This one is pretty lackluster. It can help with wave clear though, and it can be okay to throw out in a messy team fight. Your third ability is your dash. This is your escape and your engage tool, so use it wisely. You dash in a straight line, and if you hit an enemy god, you root them for 1 second as you pull off a backflip, pushing off the enemy and firing a shot at them in midair, doing flat damage plus 110% of your basic attack damage. With crits, this can hit very hard. Your ultimate ability makes you CC immune for a period and fires out a wave of swords in a cone in front of you, dealing damage and crippling enemies that they pass through. You can then activate the ability again to pull swords back towards you, and if they pass through a god that was hit by that first wave, that enemy is stunned for 1 second. At the time of making this guide, the god was completely new, and a lot of builds are going around, so here are a couple of options. To make use of her insane crit potential, the ADC build has been Leather Cowl, Transcendence, Atlanta's Bow, Wind Demon, Malicious Deathbringer, and then honestly, games have been ending before she gets to her last item, but you could either pick up more sustain from something like Uzi, or go for something like Kinzai's if you're having trouble with tanks. If you want to build her more of an ability-based hunter, or perhaps an assassin, then you want to start with Mannequin Scepter or Bluestone, depending on if you're in the jungle or not. Then go into Transcendence, Crusher, Hydra's Lament, Titan's Bane, and still end up with Malicious Deathbringer because it's just too good on this god. As these builds will definitely not last, we do need to take a look at what types of stats and passives that we need from our build so that you're able to make your own builds in the future. If you're going for the ability build, then you do want some powerful scaling, and by some I mean most. This is going to be your main stat that you're looking for. And the same goes for percent penetration. In an ability-based build, you are going to want both of these things. They work well together. That's how you're going to get your damage out. Regular penetration, you're going to want both for the ability-based build and for the ADC build. And then crit damage, you are technically going to want this in both for sure, because you're going to want Malicious Deathbringer. But in the crit build, you're going to want a lot more crit. Attack speed, you can either pick this up from something like Crusher for the ability-based build, because even the ability-based build uses a lot of auto attacks. And then obviously the auto attack build, the ADC build is going to utilize attack speed very, very well. Sustain, you're going to want a little bit of, although you can get away without too much of this if you position well. She's one of the gods that can avoid lifesteal if she really wants, but a little bit of it definitely won't be hurting. For your big game luxury item, you are always going to want this. This is obviously going to be Malicious Deathbringer. We've spoken about it time and time again on this build already. Malicious Deathbringer, by the way, if you aren't entirely sure, with your split shot, your cooldowns get reduced drastically because you're hitting so many crits on so many targets. Malicious Deathbringer plus your split shot from your first ability is a great combination. Last but not least, anti-heal. This is always a maybe. Keep an eye on the enemy team. If they've got 4 healers plus someone with a Soul Eater, then yes, you're going to want anti-heal or you will lose the game. So just always keep an eye on that. Now, the most important thing to know once you have the absolute basics of a god down is their bread and butter. What is their go-to combo that makes them good? What are you supposed to be spending most of your time doing as this character? Now for Ishtar, as an ADC, you might expect, oh, well, it's just hold left click, but it is not. For Ishtar, this revolves around your first and third abilities. Even if you're playing her with a ability-based damage build, all of your damage is coming from your basic attack combos. Learn to weave in the split shot from your first ability into team fights. So the central attack is hitting the squishy target, the person you're trying to burst down, but all of your attacks are landing and trying to hit and ping away at other targets. And then try to, wherever it's safe, to land your backflip from your third ability. It does mean you're going to have no escape, so be very cautious with this, but it can deal an insane amount of damage, and the route is a really good setup for the rest of your team to follow up and follow through with more damage. You can even use it to set up your own ultimate by throwing out the ultimate, backflipping off the target so they are rooted, and then pulling the ultimate back through so they are then stunned as well. Just be aware that they will get some DR from that. I hope you love the god, but if not, why not check out one of our other quick start guides and see if that is your next main instead.